Hi, welcome back on our YouTube channel. It's Chris back with your match preview for Newcastle United's next upcoming game. My word, these games are coming thick and fast. It was only yesterday we were smarting from getting beaten by Brighton, and it's another team that begins with a B, but it's Champions League action against José Mourinho's Benfica at St James's Park this Tuesday night at 8 o'clock kickoff. I'm going to be there, so I'm looking forward to this game, and I hope the lads can bounce back after a disappointing defeat and a poor performance, it must be said, against Brighton at the weekend. So we're going to get stuck right into this, talk about the team lineup, talk about how we think the team may line up, how Eddie might line it up compared to how I think it should be lined up. Could be very different things. We'll talk a little bit about Benfica as well, about their manager, the little Magpie, self-confessed little Magpie, José Mourinho, who has a bit of a poor record at St James's. Let's hope that continues on Tuesday. But that's the kind of thing you guys like. Smash like and subscribe. Keep it ever more. We're really close to pushing to that 12,000 mark. Only a couple of hundred away. You guys can help get us there. You know what to do. It's all free content, so you don't have to pay a penny for this. But if you want to get back to the channel and be a member, there is an option down there for you. And hit the bell so you never miss any video. So let's get stuck right in then. So this is a massive game for Newcastle. Is it the biggest game of the week? I'm not sure it is. I think Fulham at the weekend is probably the biggest game of the week, because the further we slip from the top five, top four in the Premier League, the more challenging it's going to be to get back in the Champions League. Now, currently in this Champions League table, this wacky table of teams, we're currently sitting 11th with, I think, 3 points on the board. And Benfica are sitting at 33rd with 0 on the board from their 2 games, probably why they made the managerial change. Now, I think you have to finish in the top 25, I think it is, to get through the next stage. So that's what we'll be looking to do. And obviously, Benfica and Mourinho will be also looking to climb up that table, starting against us after the tasty defeat against Mourinho's former team, Chelsea. But they're sitting 3rd in the league at the minute, in the Portuguese league. And in terms of what José Mourinho has done since he's gone there, I don't think he's lost. I think he's only lost 1 of his 6 games, and that was to Chelsea in the Champions League. So I think he's had 3 wins and 3 draws. He's already wound up the referees and called them useless and pathetic. I think his 2nd game in, because that's just Jose all over, isn't it, really? But he is a national treasure in Portugal. I'd be shocked if he was not the Portuguese national manager at some stage of his career. We love him in the Premier League for the character that he was and obviously the success that he had. But in terms of St James's Park, he normally leaves pretty disappointed, and we want that to be the case again on Tuesday night. So we're going to get stuck right into the Newcastle lineup now in terms of our team, our players, and then look a little bit at Benfica. There's not a lot of team news kicking around at the moment, but there's a couple of familiar faces in there, a couple of other names we maybe not be aware of that we should watch out for. In this Benfica team, certainly with Mourinho, has this ability to make players feel 10 foot taller, doesn't he? You know what I mean? So that could be the case. You're probably settling down right now as I'm recording this to watch Manchester United versus Liverpool. Hopefully Isaac has another stinker today, but let's wait and see until full time on that one. But this is how I think Newcastle United are going to line up. Now, I've made a big call on this one, a couple of big calls. I don't know what Eddie's going to do here. I don't know whether Eddie's going to keep these lads for Fulham or he's going to play them against Benfica. With me personally, I said it in the aftermath, I think a change is needed. I think Joe Linton looks knackered. He looks leggy. Elanga, weirdly enough, has played better football in the Champions League than he has in the Premier League. Maybe Elanga gets a start, but that's not what I've gone for. I've gone for a 4-3-3, and it's the usual back four with Malik Chow, Sven Botman continuing at centre-half, in front of Nick Pope and goal, with Kieran Trippier on the right and Dan Burn on the left-hand side. I'll check Benfica's lineup last time. They still will have pace to run at them, but I'm sure it won't be as worrying as Nkuba Minter and Saka, which Burn has played against both of them at left-back this season and done all right. So hopefully he'll do all right on Tuesday night as well. The midfield's where I've made the big change. Now, I brought Lewis Miley, and I thought he was excellent when he come on against Brighton. I think we've seen some real bright sparks from Miley so far this season and in pre-season as well. You know, he wants to get on the ball. He wants to make things happen. Good assist for Big Nick Voltemada at the weekend. You know, a little shaky start when he come on, but I think the more minutes the kid gets, the better he'll play. The more he'll open up and he'll try things. I mean, the ball coming on the edge of the box, and he had a chance to swivel and shoot. He's got the technique, Lewis Miley. We've seen him do it, but he wanted to pass to Gordon, and Gordon fluffed his lines. The more minutes that Miley plays, the more he believes he's a starting 11 player. I think he'll start to take those chances. But I think him and Tonali in that double pivot midfield, the ability for them both to look after the ball so well. And make no mistake about it, José Mourinho will come here and make Benfica sit in and have Newcastle come on to them and catch them on the break and look to nick a 1-0 win or even leave with a draw to try and get a point on the board for Benfica in this Champions League campaign. So we are going to have a lot of the ball at St James's Park, and we need to make use of that ball. Joe Linton does not make use of the ball. He loses the ball too much. Miley looks after the ball. The stats tell you that. Your eye test tells you that. And with him and Tonali in a double pivot, it also unlocks Bruno to move further up the park and be more of an attacking influence. We are so devoid of creativity right now in this football team that Bruno Guimaraes is the most creative outlet that we have. He's playing there for Brazil. He's setting up chances. He's creating goals. You saw at the weekend when Lewis Miley come on that Bruno moved up about 10 or 15 yards. He got into the Brighton box, a couple of shots, a couple of runs in the box, tried to make things happen. Could have had a pen, could have had a deflected shot, palmed out at Baltimore, tapped it in for a goal. That's where we want Bruno doing most of his work here. And with Miley and Tonali sitting behind him looking after the ball, I also think it unlocks the wingers, their ability to just pick a pass, to split the lines. And I think that would be the best choice for Eddie Howe to make. I think play Lewis Miley in this game, big Champions League night under the lights with those two. I think the kid will really step up and show his worth. Up front, it's Nick Baltimore because there is no other option at the moment. I don't want to see any changes there. It'd be madness to do it. If we're in front of the game and we're controlling the game, maybe hook Big Nick on the hour mark, give him half an hour rest in time for Fulham. Fulham isn't until Saturday, so we have got a few days to turn around. So hopefully Eddie will start with the best team wants to win this game, and maybe those lads will start again on Saturday if we get a good result on Tuesday night. But I've got Anthony Gordon to the left-hand side. With Gordon as well, he needs to start putting in some performances. Champions League, he's looked better. He's got 3 goals in 2 games of the Champions League. So he has to continue that form, but we want to see that in the Premier League as well. This is a game where you want Gordon to step up and do what he can do. Cut inside, have those chances, create chances. On the right-hand side, I've gone for Jacob Murphy. Anthony Elanga at the minute is a ghost of a player. In the Premier League, the Champions League, he seems to have a bit more freedom. Maybe Eddie Howe will stick with him in this game and save Jacob Murphy for Fulham. I know Murphy was nursing a bit of an Achilles injury, I think, so maybe that's what would prevent him from starting with Murphy. But I think the best team to win this game is that one right there, with Lewis Miley coming into midfield, to add a bit of creativity, to add a bit of ball retention, to just calm everything down and give us another outlet for a ball, and to bring Jacob Murphy into that front 3 to create for Nick Baltimore to get goals. That's the team that I would go for. A lot of people talk about bringing Fabian Schär back in. I don't see where you would play him. I wouldn't drop Botman or Chow for Brighton. Yes, they fell asleep on the Danny Welbeck goal, but they've been excellent prior to that as well. And Benfica have got a decent centre forward as well, which I'll get into in a minute. But that's how I would line up Newcastle United. And that's where we win the game, in my opinion. We use the ball well in midfield. They give us possession, which Mourinho often does. He's accused of negative tactics sometimes, but Mourinho sits in. We control the game. We use the ball. We pass it around. We run them tired. We find pockets of space and we exploit them with good passing, crisp passing to players with pace in behind to create chances and take chances and score chances. We let our most creative player in Bruno Guimaraes off the leash and let him run into the box and cause carnage and cause chaos. And that's the kind of game that we have to have on Tuesday to win that game. Is it the biggest game of the week? As I said, no, I think Fulham is the biggest game of the week, but we need to get some wins. We need that confidence going into Fulham of the weekend. And that team, to me, gets the win against Benfica. Now, looking at Benfica themselves as a team in terms of their danger players and looking how they lined up in the last game. So, as I said, since Mourinho has come in, he started with a 3-0 win against AVS. Then he had a controversial 1-1 draw where he lost his rag, surprisingly enough, against Rio Avenue. I always laugh because I remember playing five-a-side. I think there's loads of teams called it Rio Avenue. Then he lost 1-0 as returned back to Stamford Bridge, which was a bit of a close game. 0-0 draw with his old team, Benfica. Porto. And Benfica, obviously, is his new team, Porto's old team. Sorry, too many teams for José Mourinho in Portugal. Porto, Benfica was 0-0. Then they beat Chaves and the 17th there, so that was this weekend, 2-0 away from home, and then they've got us obviously in the Champions League. And how they lined up in the Chaves game, let's have a look at that, how they lined up. So in the Chaves game, they lined up there. So they lined up as kind of a 4-3-3. Now, the main man up front is Pavildes. He's the main guy. So Vangelis Pavildes, I think he's a Greek centre forward. He's got 5 goals in 8 appearances, I think, so far this season. He's a very instinctive centre forward. He's quite lively in the box. He can be a bit of a fox in the box, but he can also score goals from range as well. He's got a little turn of speed on him. Quite a hard working player as well, gets stuck in. So that's somebody to be a bit wary of. I think he's one of their danger men as well. They've got other players that we were well aware of. They've got Antonio Silva at the back, Rolls Royce at the centre half, had some real bad injury problems over the years, but a fantastic footballer, somebody who we've looked at and we've covered it, and I think we've talked about him in Rumour Has Us before as well, just looking how old he's only 21 still. My God, he feels like he's been around forever, but he's an excellent footballer, is Antonio Silva, and he'll be looking to control Nick Faltamada. There is no doubt about that as well. They've also got a midfielder in, I'll pronounce this one as best as I can, Enzo Barranchilla, I think it is. He's a bit of a combative midfielder that they signed. He's very good on the ball as well. He will not be scared to get stuck into attack. A 24-year-old, he won't be scared to get stuck into attack. He's Argentinian as well, and we always know what happens when Argentinians and Brazilians play football together. That is certainly going to be a bit of a spicy tackle as well. But looking at their kind of team news as well, doesn't say much about their kind of injuries there. I'm just looking through to see who is injured. Doesn't really say. The lineup that they've got here on this website that I'm looking at for Benfica's predicted lineup, they've actually got them as a 4-2-3-1. SofaScore had them on a 4-3-3 in the last game there against Chaves. But obviously that is in the Portuguese league. In terms of how they played against Chelsea, let's just see that one, because that's Champions League. That could be a different lineup altogether. Let's see how they lined up in that one. Similar lineup again. They had them in the 4-3-3 again, and it wasn't much different, to be honest with you, in terms of that game there. But, looking at this website that I'm looking at here, they've got them lined up as they've got Trubin and Go, Didic, Silva, Otamendi, remember him? I think former Manchester City player. Dahl, no, not Roald Dahl, that other one. Rios, Baranchina. They've got Luka Biako, Sudakov, Arsunes, who's also a very decent midfielder, energy box to box, not scared to put it about either, and Pavildes, who obviously we talked about there before. So they're not a bad side. They obviously lost their way a little bit, hence why they departed with that former manager. So Jose Mourinho has a way of getting the best out of teams, and yes, it's negative football at times, but it is something that Jose can do very well. He comes into teams that are fair a little bit, and he kind of picks them up a little bit, and he obviously gets them back up and running. And I think you probably do that with Benfica. I really do. I think it's a team it's a big team. It's a huge team in Portugal, one of the big teams that are there. I'm just trying to look at our head-to-head there in terms of how we've done against them. So what have we got here? So I think we've got one draw and one win. Newcastle have got against them. Yeah, here we go. So the last time we played them was the quarterfinals, I believe it was, of was it the UEFA Cup, I think it was. So we drew 1-1 at St James's Park, and then we got beat 3-1 at their place. I don't remember. Is it the Stadium of Light? I think it is the Stadium of Light, isn't it? I think it is. Yes, I do remember. Yeah, Cardoza. Yeah, he was a good player. I remember him. Rodrigo Lima. Cisse scored for us when we got beat 3-1 back in Lisbon. So yeah, that was a long time ago. Newcastle have moved on a lot since then, but this is not going to be an easy game. There's no doubt about that at all. Jose Mourinho makes his teams hard to play against. They'll be coming to St James's Park. They'll want to get off the mark in the Champions League. They do have some dangerous players. As I said, their centre forward is lively. Their midfielder likes to get stuck in. They do like to create, play with pace. They'll sit in deep. They've got some good defenders who are really comfortable on the ball as well, who look to build play from the back, try and catch us on the break. But Newcastle really do need to step up their game. We need to start creating chances. We need to start putting them away. We need to start winning games with confidence, with belief, with assurance, because we're not doing that at the minute. We're not getting the best out of Nick Faltamada. The midfield is flat and lethargic and very uncreative, workmanlike, but not really creative in terms of doing something. Obviously Bruno gets that great goal against Forest, but we haven't really beat anybody of note. We've beat Wolves, we've beat Nottingham Forest. These are struggling Premier League teams. We beat Bradford, beat USG. They're not massive sides, and that needs to be said, because we as Newcastle fans have a tendency to get carried away very, very quickly. And we are struggling to put it together here as a team and just look like an attacking threat. Now, Benfica is a great chance to do that under the lights in front of all those Geordies in the Champions League, make a statement, get a good win, get another win, push us on in that competition. I think we need probably about 6 wins, I think it is. I think when you look at that, there's 5 or 6 wins. I think Newcastle can get them. We've already got one against USG. If we can get a home win against Benfica as well, we need to win those home games in the Champions League as best as we can to really have a chance of getting to the knockouts. This is a winnable game. There's no doubt about it. But Newcastle have to show up. They have to bring their A game. They have to get on the front foot, get aggressive, get into the faces of Benfica, push them right back. If they're going to sit in deep, get right into them, press them on the ball, make Silva hurry the ball, make Otamendi hurry the ball, use our pace in behind there to get at them. And then obviously do something in the midfield, create, get forward, look for a pass forward, not a pass backwards or sideways. And before anybody starts with the don't play Lewis Miley shit, Chris, then go look at his stats against Brighton. 20 of his passes in the opposition half, 100% passing accuracy. You know, he is passing forward. He is being more positive. He set up the goal for Valtamada. The boy's 19. Give him a chance. Joe Linton looks knackered and he needs a rest. And I would rest him for this game, but I can understand if Howe doesn't rest Joe Linton and he brings in Miley at the weekend, or Ramsey. Ramsey's got a chance to start this game as well, ahead of Lewis Miley. You know, Jacob Ramsey's got a lot to show this Newcastle fan base already. He's very disappointed and frustrated that he got injured so quickly, so he'll have a point to prove. But it's a big game for Newcastle. We want to continue that momentum in the Champions League, get another win, get those points on the board, and then focus on a massive game on Saturday against Fulham. We need Premier League wins. We need to start climbing that table before we slip away too much. And qualification for the Champions League looks nigh on impossible. But let us know in the comments below what you think about that lineup. What do you think about Benfica? Are you concerned about them? Is José due at St James's Park? He's not had a lot of joy there. He's had the odd win here and there, but he's not had a lot of joy. Are you concerned about José coming back? And are you concerned about the way the lads are playing? Are you confident we're going to win this game? Do you think it's going to be a struggle? What is your predicted score? I'll tell you what mine's going to be. I'm going to do Newcastle United 2, Benfica 0. I'm going to say 0. We're going to keep a clean sheet and we're going to win 2-0. That's what I'm going to say. And that's the kind of win that we need to go in to the weekend against Fulham and just get a little bit of that confidence back. But I must admit, José Mourinho, I loved him as a character, as a manager. What an unbelievable character he was, especially when he first came in, the special one. He's responsible for so many unbelievable memes and gifs. I do love the one, I cannot speak. If I speak, I'm going to be in trouble. I use that on a regular basis, weird enough, as you might guess with me. Let me know what your favourite José Mourinho moment was over the years as well, because I think he's a brilliant guy. He's always respectful of Newcastle United as well because of the Sir Bobby Robson tie, and he feels a connection and a closeness when he comes back to Newcastle. I think there was once upon a time where he could have been Newcastle manager. I think that ship has long since sailed. Now he's back in Portugal. I think the next job he has after Benfica will probably be the Portuguese national job, and then he'll probably retire. But I do like Mourinho as a character. I know he's a bit of a nightmare when you're against him. He whinges at referees and all that kind of stuff. But let me know what your favourite José moment was. Was it digging Benitez out? Was it the 3, respect? Was it that one? Was it the jumping up, shouting at the referee, drinking the water? Was it the cup in the ear, banging the chest? There's so many of them I can think about from José Mourinho. What a character, man. The game needs more characters like that. They really do. I love Eddie. I love how steady he is. But I do love me some crazy José banter as well. But thanks for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. Mark will be back with you for the post-match analysis on Tuesday night. I will be coming back from the game. I'll be driving because it's a late one, so I won't be on the bevy. So you might be looking, you might get an aftermath off me in the car on the way back, and then you'll get that first thing in the morning. But keep it over more, guys. Like and subscribe. Have a belter. We'll see you later. Cheers.
Heroes celebrate. They have done it.